Neil, season tickets now on sale for next season. Before we think about that campaign, how would you reflect on where the club are this season and in line with your expectations going into the campaign?
Well, I think from a playing point of view, we've progressed significantly. I think performances and consistency and the quality of football that we're playing is far superior to where we were last year. I get the fact that Championship is a different league and it's more attritional, but the football that we've played this season and the consistency in the level of performance has been really high, which gets us to the point where we are not far off third place at the minute. And obviously our aim is now to try and break into the top three with 10 games to go.
Have your expectations or demands of the season changed as the team has progressed and as you realise that they maybe are a wee bit further ahead than you thought they might have been coming into the season?
Yes, I think that's a fair assessment. I think ultimately early on in the season thinking top six would be good. We should do top six, but how far into the top six we can go, who knows. Now we're looking to challenge second and third place, and that's a huge step up. And since the turn of the year we've played some brilliant football and we've beaten some teams around us, good teams with a far bigger budget, and that's what we want. Not only are we winning the games, we're winning in a certain style. I think that is pleasing to the Hibernian public, and we're roared on by unbelievable crowds at home, which has made a huge difference to the mentality of the team as well.
A lot of people define you as a winner. Coming into this group, do you think they needed that additional quality, or do you think there's elements within that on the back of the Scottish Cup win and I guess building up towards the league win last season?
No, I think that's a fair point. I think it was there with a real good core of the squad, and I think I also felt that if we could negotiate promotion, then we would be comfortable in this environment. We've got quality players who already have proved, even though we're in the Championship, that they can compete against Premiership teams on a consistent basis. So the mentality of the team is improved, or is improving. You're always looking for the perfect. You're never going to get there, but I'm very, very pleased with the temperament of the squad and the character that they've shown a lot of times this season, where I think in a lot of games we've been a goal down, or we've conceded the first goal and bounced back to either get something out of the game or go on to win it. So I think that speaks volumes for the character and personality that we have within the group.
When you first joined, you made a remark about the boy band Hibs of years gone by. Do you see more of a resilience in this group that maybe hasn't been a common trait of past Hibs teams?
Well, I think what I was referring to was that Hibs did have the generation that came through in the early part of the millennium, and they could be brilliant on their day, and then they could be rubbish, and there's an inconsistency there with them, and I felt they probably could and should have done better. And when I wanted to lose that tag, we got some young players who the likes of Cummings. I wanted him to really be consistent. He was a character, obviously, and he proved in more ways than one that he certainly, there's more substance to him than just having that boy band tag. And I wanted to eradicate that, where if we go to Celtic Park and play well, then we play well at home against Ross County the week after. So it was just trying to find that steeliness. I think there's plenty of it in there now, and certainly we were able to scrap out games very, very well, which maybe would have been a criticism of us before. Now that's not something I've brought. You pass on your own experiences. I think the players have taken to that very, very well.
How do you bring that to the table? How do you try and shape that culture within a squad, that kind of consistency of winning, where every game is just as important and the performance levels are just as high?
Well, what you do is you enjoy the win on a Saturday, and then come Monday, you must forget about it quickly. Or conversely, you take the defeat, and you sit on it for a day or two, and then you gotta forget about it and look to the next game. Alright, you can analyse what we went wrong, and we do show footage of games where in aspects of the game we could and should do better, and I think the players are taking that on board. Now we're not going to win every week. We're not the champions. So it's a tall order to be champions with the competition that we have. But I still think it's important to aim as high as you possibly can. And at this current phase of the season, we are still a miss out of second place, and certainly got a great chance of finishing third. So that is going to be hammered home between now and the end of the season.
You touched on earlier the importance of sellout crowds and playing a packed East Road every other week. What would you say to supporters who have maybe come back and enjoyed that success with a view to next season?
Thank you for a start, for your support, and please come again. Team can't do it without the support, and we have a duty and obligation to entertain as well. I think that's part of football. Ultimately, the end game is to win the game, you know, and sometimes you can play poorly and win, and your weekend is good. Sometimes you can play brilliantly and lose. Still, your weekend's good, but it hurts a little bit. But when the team puts it all together, and you see the connection between the supporters and the players, you know, the last game against Aberdeen, 19,500, and the response the players gave to the fans and vice versa was fantastic, and it's what I want. Now, it's difficult to produce that every week, there's no question of that, but I think the players have made huge strides this season in adapting to the competition of the Premier League, and it is a very competitive league, but overcoming that and playing the conducive football that is easy on the eye and one that will sort of has been in the DNA of the club. But you have to earn the right to do that, and the players are doing that.
Certainly the last game against Aberdeen seemed to have that feeling to it. It was more than just a big win or a good result, but there was a feeling amongst the supporters that it was a victory well earned and one of the best performances. Did that come across?
Yeah, I was delighted with the response that we got from the supporters after the game. You know, some were saying it's the best we played in a long time, and that's ultimately the biggest compliment you can get when your own supporters are speaking about your own team like that, because the modern day supporter is hard to please. You're not going to get the perfect player, you're not going to get the perfect team, the perfect manager, but we strive for that. You know, you're never going to get there, but you strive for it. And you get days like a big game against Aberdeen. I thought the performance at Ibrox the week before was fantastic as well. The quality of our football and our attacking intent is of very high calibre at the minute, and we want to try and maintain those standards now and keep people coming in the gates. But we can't. We must progress. We have to build. You know, we are realising the potential. Potential's it's not a real thing. Potential, you either have it or you don't. You know, people talk about young players. Oh, this guy had the potential to be. So he didn't have it because he never made it. So there's all those sort of variables that go into making the player that you want him to be, or the team that you want him to be. And we can't do that, be the team that we want to be or become, without the support.
Potential is a word that has probably followed Hibernian as a club around, a city centre club, and there's been fleeting moments throughout the history where maybe that potential has been either realised, or you see fleeting glimpses in, you know, attendances at Hampden or whatever else. Does this now feel like the club is fulfilling its potential then? Yes.
You know, with the crowds that we're getting and the support we're getting away from home, that to me is the sign of a big club, and that to me is why I came here. There was an incentive here. As you said, it's a city club, and it's one of the biggest clubs in Scotland. It's got a great tradition, and I think psychologically the club's in a great place off the back of winning the cup. I think that was it wasn't a monkey on its back, it was a gorilla. So 114 years are now eradicated, and to be fair, the people behind the scenes have built on that, and the players have built on that, and the supporters have jumped on that as well. And there's a real feel-good factor now. It's important that we maintain that and give the supporters what they want.
So what comes next? What's the aims for next season?
Good question. You know, we're going to have a board meeting probably. You know, we'll have a couple maybe between now and the end of the season, and you know, the board will dictate to me what they want for next season. Obviously, it'll depend on where we finish this year. I think now, with, you know, a couple of months of the season to go, European football is a realistic target for us, and that is what we must aim for from here on in. We can't win a trophy this season, but I think getting into Europe will be as good, you know, in terms of the consistency over 38 games makes you one of the top teams in the country. That's exactly what I want from Hibs week, year in, year out.
And a shared ambition, I guess, that where we've gotten to at this point, you know, the sellout crowds and record season ticket numbers, that doesn't start to slip away, but we actually grow and develop on where we are just now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important we tap in to find out what the supporters want as well. You know, what are they looking for this generation of player. You know, I think, you know, player recruitment is important for next season, the type of player that the fans want to see, and also the type of player who's going to make us better. And I want us to be challenging the top teams year in, year out, week in, week out, consistently. You know, Aberdeen are a little bit ahead of us at the minute in terms of finance and the structure that they have. There's no reason why we can't start breaking into that bracket. You know, it's always going to be difficult to break the Celtic Rangers monopoly, but we will try. We will strive to do that. We will try and break, you know, maybe finish second one season if we can, or upset the apple. Leicester won the Premier League. There's no reason to say why Hibs can't do it sometime. But you need all the stars to align at the right time. But we are in a good place, you know, as a club. I think we're in a good place as a squad, and certainly from what I've seen, you know, we're in a good place with the support as well.
When you first came in, it was straight off the back of the Scottish Cup win, and the emotional bond, I guess, between supporters and players was probably at an all-time high. Has it been a challenge to then transition that team and create the team's own identity, where you have maybe some individuals of the squad moving on and other ones staying, and to create that new identity that you're not just known as the squad that won the Scottish Cup, but you can be a squad that goes on to achieve even more?
Yeah, I mean, it is difficult. It's always, you know, I think a little bit emotional for the supporters when they see, you know, one of the team or one of the squads, you know, move on. But you know, you can't stand still. I had heard a very good squad of players. I was really pleased with what I got after Stubbsy had left, and we'd just like to build on that. Now they're not going to be here forever, and there will be suitors that will want to take our prized assets away. That's another reality of the game that we have to sort of deal with. But it's not a question of me putting my own stamp on the team or my own stamp on the club. It's a question of, you know, what can I do to make us better? What can I do just to make us more competitive? What can I do to make us bring trophies in, you know, on a regular basis, which is a difficult thing to do? What can I do to make us a European team, you know, or compete for the European places year in, year out, on the back of trying to play the style of football that the fans enjoy?